Threat intelligence. It's no longer something that is just for large organizations with mature threat intelligence or security operations centers, but it's for all organizations who want to have a deeper understanding of the threats that are out there and the risks that exist, as well as information that's already been compromised by threat actors. And really, there's been a huge shift in the way that people consume or search for intelligence. The old approach, I've been told many times that threat intelligence is just a series of indicators of compromise involving malware hashes, IP addresses, or domains, and simply consuming that information into different CM solution, firewall, IPS, or other security solutions. But unfortunately, this type of shift and this type of approach where you simply collect information from open or semi-open sources and integrate it into different security solutions no longer works. It doesn't work because it collects information that's not relevant to your organization and not trusted, and it creates a lot of problems for security teams within the organization. They're constantly chasing different indicators or different notifications based on this low fidelity intelligence, and because of that may miss something that's very important for their organization. So let's take a look now at the new approach for collecting and analyzing threat intelligence. Here at GroupIB, we believe that every cyber incident is connected by a cyber criminal. And these cyber criminals have different behaviors and infrastructure that is trackable. We look at the specific threat actor and their behaviors that can turn into indicators relative to that specific organization. We also look at the changes of their TTPs mapped to the MITRE ATT&CK framework over time. GroupIB also curates specific threat intelligence like compromised credentials or domains or specific vulnerabilities to that organization, and provides it to many security teams like red teams, digital forensics and incident response teams, as well as security operations centers. This type of actor-centric approach to collecting specific threat intelligence that's relative to your organization is the way of the future, and you'll learn more about this as we go through today's presentation. So where does your threat intelligence come from? In the industry, there are two different types of threat intelligence solutions. Those solutions that collect information from open sources, they have good parsers and machine learning technology to collect a large amount of information from different open and semi-open sources and provide that information through various APIs, etc. But how can you trust this information if it's simply collected on the same sources and unprocessed by human analysts? GroupIB and some other vendors collect information specifically from threat actors' infrastructures. We look at having an actor-centric solution which tracks cyber criminals and newly created infrastructure as it's created. We track these TTPs, correlate their various behavior, and also specifically look for information that's relevant specifically to your company, like credentials that have been compromised directly from the control panel or infrastructure that the cyber criminal manages. We also have other customized tools to make sure that we're tracking the threat actors that are relevant to your organization. So what does GroupIB Threat Intelligence and Attribution deliver that others don't? GroupIB delivers now a tailored threat landscape for every customer. It's our focus now to be able to only deliver information that's relevant to you and your company, as well as your partners and clients, or simply other threat actors that you're interested to research. We also curate specifically information that's only relevant to your organization. We also now have advanced threat actor profiling and a unique way to report on these threat actors. We look at specifically questions that might be asked by your CISO. For example, how has Lazarus's activity, TTPs, and attack campaigns changed over the course of the last year? You'll now be able to more easily answer this question by looking at all of the infrastructure, all of the tools, all of the malware, and all of the TTPs from this threat actor in one single pane of glass. Also, a specific attributional element where you can look at dark web forums if they've communicated there, or other information that's relevant to specifically attribution. Our goal at GroupIB is also to give you research and attribution tools. And later, Dimitri will show you just how easy it might be to research a specific cyber criminal from underground. Take a nickname, and you want to develop a full threat actor profile. You'll simply be able to drop that nickname in our graphing tool and look at any domain that's been created, any social media profile, or other threat actor nicknames that relate back to this individual, all on an easy-to-use graph. And that information will tap into GroupIB's resources to help you attribute this threat actor, all with the click of a button. I'll invite Dimitri back more later in order to show us some of these details. So I think the first question you have to understand before you start to consume threat intelligence is to understand really why do you collect threat intelligence. And this can all be done through establishing your personalized intelligence requirements, or PIRs. And this is done through the intelligence collection lifecycle, typically within the planning and direction phase. Here at GroupIB, we have a team of consultants globally in order to sit with you and your customers in order to understand exactly why you need to collect threat intelligence and who the stakeholders are within your organization. After that has been established in the planning and direction phase, we move to the collection phase. In the collection phase, GroupIB uses their unique topology in order to collect a mass amount of information from non-public sources directly related to those threat actors that matter to you and your business. In step 3, GroupIB's analysts come in order to process this information and normalize it into a new flow. Then, in the analysis and production phase, GroupIB's CTI team analyzes the information and makes it more relevant to your business. In the 5th phase, we pass that information to security teams and security systems in order to see if they've received the information that's been established in their personalized intelligence requirements. Of course, we're working with industry partners like different SOAR solutions or threat intelligence platforms in order to integrate all of the information we collect in this phase. We also, at stage 5, want to gather feedback and make certain adjustments to the personalized intelligence requirements as needed. So now, understanding why you need threat intelligence, what actually makes GroupIB's threat intelligence and attribution solution so unique? It's really about the source of the threat intelligence that makes every vendor unique. Here at GroupIB, we collect all of our own threat intelligence from many different sources, from our human intelligence, malware intelligence, data intelligence, or open source intelligence. GroupIB actually started as a digital forensics and incident response company over 17 years ago. And having this type of first-hand incident response experience helps us to understand how cyber threat actors actually conducted an incident and learn from this in order to track newly created infrastructure. We also coordinate with different law enforcement globally, such as Interpol or Europol, and provide information about specific threat actors in order to disrupt it. We also have a team of dark web researchers who maintain sock puppets or underground personas in order to deliver that information and interact with threat actors on underground forums. In malware intelligence, we have lots of information collected from our own topology and our own security solutions. We collect information using GroupIB's threat hunting framework, which sits both at ISP level and also in our clients' networks to identify new campaigns as they happen. We also have a malware research team at GroupIB that both uses their own hands to do reverse engineering of complicated malware samples, but also maintain our own PC and mobile sandboxes. We collect a lot of information about where these malware tools communicate, and then we pass information to other teams like our botnet analytics team to identify specific control panels or the office of where these cybercriminals look for information they've perhaps compromised in their various botnets. We also have data intelligence. For example, mass amount of collections of phishing and C2 infrastructure. For example, information we collect from CertGIB. GroupIB is home to CertGIB, which is a computer emergency response team, and also a team that's authorized by Trusted Introducer to remove phishing and sites hosting malware with our own two hands. We also collaborate with certs around the world through our relationship with First. Through this CERT team, we can collect lots of information about phishing websites that have been customized to target specifically your customers or your corporate employees, and perhaps automate the collection of credentials that have been compromised through these campaigns. We also look to collect information about specifically threat actors and email accounts that they've used in order to collect information about those credentials, and we can use this information to attribute their activity. And Dimitri will show you some live examples later on in today's presentation. We also have open source collections of intelligence as well, such as looking at PACE sites, Federal Project, IDEON, Slexia, and many others, code repositories like parsing GitHub to see if your programmers left information on open sources where they shouldn't have, looking at Telegram, or collecting information about vulnerabilities or exploits. GroupIB also looks at different social networks, to look for information that's relevant to your brand and your organization. So as you see, GroupIB uses a series of human analysts as well as our own topology in order to look at cyber criminals, specifically threat actors that matter to you and your business, and collect specific information that's relevant to you. So now let's look at what GroupIB is really all about, and this can be done in our manifest. So at the root of every cyber attack is always a real person, and we believe in our hearts that this is true. And this person has specific patterns, and they have left traces on the internet. We have gathered these traces for over 17 years in order to see if they've made a mistake. And sometimes they do. This helps us to reveal identities of cyber criminals over time. And of course, this combined with proper attribution of cyber criminals and collaborating with different law enforcement globally is the true recipe in order to disrupt cybercrime globally. So now let's take a look at GroupIB's threat intelligence and attributions vision. Our vision for the future will be to provide your organization with tailored intelligence. We will deliver information only relevant to your organization, your partner or industry, and specifically information that may have already been compromised from cyber criminals you're interested to track. The second goal of GroupIB is to provide you with tool sets. The first you'll see in our raw dark web that you'll have free access to search, and also our graphing and analysis tools in order to provide your own attribution and investigation. We'll also provide you access to our malware detonation platform in order to detonate different malware and do your own research. Our third pillar and goal will be to pass on that knowledge and knowledge transfer in order to provide training to your CTI teams and build ultimately an international community of TI experts that we unite with a common mission.